Of you, Mr. Travis
Hey,
Wright.
thank you. We're in the same room. He looked me in the eyes when he said that.
I did.
So he means
I looked deeply and passionately.
it was not
past
deeply
your
or passionate. That
matrixy
sounds really K-man.
glasses. It's great recording in the same room because, and that's why this sounds, the quality of this recording is even better than usual because we have a killer portable recorder and microphones. Usually, he's in Kansas City and I'm in Denver and we're in some other remote location recording. And then you got VoIP stuff to deal with and little glitches and all of a sudden like robot-y and whatnot.
Well, that's Trobot malfunctioning.
Yeah. So it's great to be sitting here. We are still on Grand Cayman Island and it is absolutely stunning out there.
It is.
Beautiful.
The bad in our logo, my arms are about that color. Almost.
You're like the lobster boy right now.
You know what? I even put suntan lotion on and everything. This is seriously a first world problem.
We're glad you guys are here. It's the show for the crypto curious and the crypto serious, and we are your crypto medians at your service. And we're going to read a few reviews off of iTunes, and we're going to encourage you guys to do something that you might not have done before. If you haven't done a review yet for us on iTunes, we want some funny ones, right? This show is fun. We are occasionally funny. We're always bad, and we want some 5-star reviews that are funny. So if you will write us a funny 5-star review, then we might just read it off to you here on the show. The most recent ones aren't really funny, but just to kind of give you a flavor for it, Tex Dave writes with his 5-star review, love the show, makes my hell of a drive to work in Houston slightly less awful. Stay bad. So we try to make drives less awful.
That is true. Oh, here's my favorite one from Dustin H. James. Highly informative and easy to digest. The host of this podcast take crypto noobs softly by the hand as they walk them through the jungles of digital currency. When the going gets tough, the singing gets louder. You ask yourself, why are these guys singing? They're nerdy digital marketers and futurists. Then you burst out laughing behind the wheel of your 18-wheeler down the highway in Fairbanks, Alaska, 10,000 gallons of unleaded gasoline fishtailing behind you as your tanker careens from one lane to the other. But none of that matters. None of it. This is one of the best podcasts you've ever heard. A smile forms across your face as you pass your exit, barreling down the Richardson Highway into the unknown world of cryptocurrency.
It's not dangerous at all. What he's carrying behind him there is he is careening down the highway. So if you'll go to iTunes and write us a 5-star review, make it funny. Make it funny. Be funny.
Here's one, too. Pretty good, I guess. But that's a 3-star one. They're okay. There's a lot of fluff, and they normally take about 17 to 20 minutes before they hit their subject. Could use more structure. That was really early on in our crypto game too. That was actually right there in the first month. So we do have a little bit more structure now.
Yeah, we're not quite as bad.
Good, Nick.
But while we're at it, let's read one star just because they're funny too. Couldn't even finish listening to it. Just dumb. It's too bad he's too dumb to understand.
My dad wrote that one.
Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. So you guys have your marching orders or requests. I'm not going to boss you around. I'm not the boss of you. Neither is Travis Wright. But we'd appreciate it. Go be funny. Go write us a 5-star review. And now let's get to the bad news.
So 8,200 Bitcoins removed from Mt. Gox wallet. And they're saying here on this article on ccn.com that that's the possible sell-off that is affecting our Bitcoin price currently. And so the Mt. Gox trustee, he was tasked to sell about 200,000 Bitcoin after the bankruptcy. And they've suspected to dump another 8,000 Bitcoin on the cryptocurrency market. That's a potential thing that says, hey, this is what is kind of shocking the market. But I want to touch base on something here, Mr. Joel Comm, because we don't talk a whole lot about trading and investing and technical analysis. And that's one of the new skills that I'm working on developing right now. I'm trying to stack it up. I don't have it down yet, but I've been introduced to this guy, Scott Crypto Man, on livecryptotrading.net, and I'm actually paying for the service. And this dude was a Forex trading guru, right? And so he's made a ton of money. He understands technical analysis, and now he's applying it over the last few months to crypto. And I've been watching him now. I've been watching a few of his episodes, and I've not seen him be wrong yet, right? And he was like, he said this about a week ago. He's got this kind of a southern drawl from like North Carolina. He's like, he goes, I don't know what about thinking, Bitcoin's going on a bull run. That's bullshit. Bitcoin's going down. It hasn't hit the fifth wave yet. I was like, fifth wave? What does it mean? And so you started talking about like, oh, Bitcoin, he went here, bop, 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 bop. And then we had it looked like it was a bull run going up, but it did not get past 11,400. It needs to get over 14,000 to be on a full on bull run, and it hasn't hit the bottom yet. It hadn't hit the fifth wave down below, so he thinks it's going to hit somewhere around 5,500, maybe as low as 4,000 before it pops up. Once it hits 14,000, though, it's going to skyrocket to 35,000. And so I was watching some of the other stuff that he was talking about. And he goes, if you have some of these, you better get out of them because they're going to, he was all like, he uses Fibonacci. He uses the Fibonacci ancient sacred geometry, and it matches up on these charts way more frequently than you would actually think. And that's that, Fibonacci is like you take the number and then you add the next number, and then you add the two before it. So it starts like 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1 is then 1. So it's 1, 0, 1, 1. Then you add the 2 before it. So then that's 0. Then that's 2. And then you add 2 plus 1 before it. That's 3. Plus the 2 before, that's 5. And so it adds the number before it each time. Yeah. It's a sequence. And it creates this little spiral thing, right? And so there's some mathematical equations behind that that's really fascinating. And everyone that I've seen that he's predicted, like when EOS hit that, went on that big run and went up to 22 to almost $23 or whatever, that hit this 4.38 or whatever number. And I was like, that's the point where it's going to start going down. And then immediately just started tanking down from there. It's like, you can see when they go on these big runs, it's like they hit the top of this Fibonacci sequence and they stall and they start going down. It's almost like clockwork. It's crazy what he was showing these different ones. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna start listening to this guy. So I'm learning more about technical analysis. I am certainly not an expert in it at all, but I am on the journey of learning.
You're so technical.
Trying to learn.
So the reason we're at Grand Cayman is because all that Mt. Gox Bitcoin went to our wallet. So we're just here for good.
We're living here now forever. And family, we will miss you.
Yeah. So we can record from here clearly.
That's true.
Because we're doing it. We're doing it right now. Mm-hmm. So that could be one reason. Another reason people believe that crypto might be taking a dip is because of the words of the legendary investor, Jimmy Buffett. No, he's the legendary musician, Warren Buffett. And he said that Bitcoin is rat poison squared, probably rat poison squared. And his homie said, it's like trading turds. It's like trading turds. Bitcoin, like trading turds. What is that? I'm trying to mute the damn thing. I don't have both hands, so can't use. There we go. I just made a melody out of it, though. So that works. Yeah, that's great. He actually did. I'm sitting here going, what are you doing, Travis? But that's good. This is, we're bad. So he said previously, Buffett has said that Bitcoin will almost certainly, quote, come to a bad ending. And this was at the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting that this was said. And Charlie Munger, his business partner, has called Bitcoin turds. Actually, he didn't say it was rat poison. He says it's probably rat poison squared. So that's rat poison times rat poison
equals
what? Like
cancer.
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny about these guys? It's like everybody on mainstream media, or at least a bunch. I saw a bunch of people on mainstream media talking about this, and they're like, "Oh, they don't like Bitcoin. They don't like Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin's rat poison. Oh, it's turds." And then you look at what Berkshire Hathaway is holding. It's the most biased crap you've ever seen, dude. Like I posted it on Instagram. They have over $65 billion worth of banking stocks. Wells Fargo, American Express, Bank of America. They own all of them. $65 billion worth of their stocks holdings are in banking. So of course they don't like Bitcoin. So you just got to look at them and go, eh. And also, Berkshire Hathaway did not see Google coming. They did not see Amazon coming. That tells me enough. You don't always get it right. Nobody nails it all the time. They don't get technology. They get old school stocking, old school stocks, old school trading and investing. They get that. They do not get the new school. Ever since the internet come out, they've not really been hitting on them.
So I'm going to bet against Buffett on this one and say he's wrong. Maybe he's drinking, something funky. I hope it's not rat poison. Stay healthy, Warren. But he's there's no way that he understands blockchain and Bitcoin.
Yeah, and then Bill Gates was saying stuff too. But then in 1994, there's a quote from Bill Gates where he said, banking is necessary. Banks are not necessary. And now that he's global elite, super billionaire guy, he's all like, oh, yeah, well, I would probably short Bitcoin if I could.
Well, in the Winklevoss, one of the Winklevoss twins, I don't remember which one, challenged him on Twitter, said, go ahead, put your money where your mouth is, Bill, short Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Well, if he's shorting Bitcoin right now, it's going down. And it depends. You know what? At this moment in time, shorting Bitcoin, when it almost hit 10,000, it didn't bust through. If you short it, and it's going to go, maybe it goes back down to 5,000 or 4,000, like this trading guy says. I looked at the charts, and once he explained it, that made sense. And that's a possibility that Bitcoin could go down to 5. It's also a possibility that Bitcoin could just stop, turn, and bust through 14,000. Once it busts through 14,000, though, you're sitting in that $14,000 to $35,000 range, and that's where Bitcoin's going to go boom.
So that range, 14 to 35. That's a $21,000 gap. Right. So this is where we're looking. If we look at John McAfee's dick curve, right?
It curves to the left. He showed us in the video.
Okay, so if you guys are following this, that's not what I meant.
His prediction.
Yeah. Oh, what a predicament I've gotten myself in here now. But there is this logarithmic line of that matches where his prediction would go, and we're right there in line with it now. But in order for it to hit 1 million by the end of 2020, it's got to have this exponential rise in the curve. There's just no other way to get to 1 million from 9,000.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to have to grow. $998,000.
Buy stock in Viagra. So there's that. Here's another thing that might be causing Bitcoin's price to fluctuate. Futures launch, it being a thing that's happened. There was a research paper that came out on Monday, and these researchers from the Federal Reserve of San Francisco, as well as a finance professor from Stanford, believe that the recent price trend is similar to how the housing bubble developed in the U.S. during the 2000s. And so the CBOE and CME group, had futures products that launched, and they think that this is, part of the reason that we're seeing this downward pressure.
Mm-hmm. Well, big money is starting to kind of control some of these bigger currencies. And as the price has dipped down, then big money can go in and buy up a whole bunch. And, that's what's kind of interesting. So we've talked about futures in the past, and there's some other stuff going on. They're buying crypto in unprecedented levels, right? And what's interesting is in our next story, the wealthy are actually hoarding, upwards of $10 billion of Bitcoin in bunkers. And so
like Scrooge McDuck, I see them, when they're tossing Bitcoin everywhere.
Yeah, they're probably in a USB drive, right? Or on a Trezor or something inside an underground.
You can't swim in coins the way Bitcoin, the way Scrooge McDuck did with, his doubloons and all.
Yeah, that's why you might want to divest a little bit and get some crypto or get some
gold
of those crypto coins.
Yeah.
Like those ones with the Bitcoin logo. If you really love crypto, don't just put all your money in crypto. Put some of it in gold and silver, because the price of it is so undervalued right now. I mean, it should be.
Are you giving financial advice?
I'm not, but I'm just saying, think about it, because there's some really cool coins out there. You can actually combine your loves you can get those silver Bitcoins and silver Litecoins and Neos, and
there's fun stuff. I mean, I've gotten into picking up a few coins here and there from was it JM Bullion or I don't know.
Some of them actually will take Bitcoin, right? Won't JM Bullion? You can send Bitcoin over there,
yeah, and
they can send you real coins. So it's actually taking digital money from thin air and actually buying gold and silver is actually it's a fun thing. I don't have a whole lot of gold and silver, but it's fun to have.
So this article here, we've mentioned Argentinian entrepreneur Wences Cesaris before on the show, and he is a Bitcoin optimist, and he is basically an evangelist out there telling that Silicon Valley millionaires and billionaires about Bitcoin, and it's the global currency. And he started a company called Xapo, XAPO, and he's got a network of underground vaults on 5 continents, including one in a decommissioned Swiss military bunker. And so 2 Xapo clients said that they house roughly $10 billion of Bitcoin in those bunkers.
I was having a conversation last week with some folks about how it's probably what banks will be in the future is, banks with digital money. How's it going to be? It's going to almost be like vaults where we store our crypto, where it sort of has like a FICO type of thing, where it's or what is it? Not FICO. What is it? The insured is a FICO where they insure you up to $100,000 or
FICA.
FICA.
Yeah.
And so that's maybe what the banks of the future are going to look like, where they're going to be storing crypto.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have some crypto in, they're probably going to try to do some fractional reserve banking like they've done before. Like, oh, we have $1 million worth of crypto. Now we can trade out crypto or some crypto derivative or something. Right. So digital money, in my opinion, is here to stay. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a future advisor, but I mean, it looks to me like, more and more people are jumping on, and more of these organizations are jumping in as well. Matter of fact, the next
wait before you go, I want to say one more thing about this.
Okay, I had a great transition there.
I know, but this is gold to understand.
Okay.
How this works is how do you put it in a vault and how do you secure it? Like, what is that? So they put it on a cold storage, and then they layer on other electronic safeguards on it. And if you want to get it out, it says retrieving Bitcoin from the vault takes 2 days. They verify a client's identity, they authenticate the request, then they manually sign the transaction with private keys from multiple vault locations. Approval from 3 vaults is required for any transaction to be authorized. So, I mean, if you're going to, a vault means it's got to be super duper, super secure.
Super duper.
And I think that poopity scoopity boop.
Nice.
I'm doing a little Kanye West here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Scoop poop. You never did hear that song.
I never did
you?
listen to that song.
Oh my. Okay, and now back to Travis's transition, already in progress.
Yeah. So I mean, it is fascinating. I mean, how security is something that's definitely needed in the crypto space, especially how if you have $1 billion worth of crypto, can you imagine how paranoid you're going to be? So it's good to have those things within some various different vaults for sure. And other organizations are looking into crypto as well. The NASDAQ CEO has said that cryptocurrency plays a role in the future. Duh. Adina Friedman, she told CNN's fake news journalist Poppy Harlow that she's optimistic that blockchain, the technology underpinning cryptos, will play a nice role in the economy of the future. And there is a nice video there that you can watch in the show notes that talks all about that. So, not only that, but did we discuss last week? The owners of the New York Stock Exchange is looking to potentially create an exchange for crypto, right? NASDAQ has talked about it as well. So we're getting real in institutional, curiosity about this space, and they're starting to execute and move forward on some pretty interesting projects.
I got to follow up on this just because it's so funny. This Kanye West song that came out, Lift Yourself, it's just like this normal Kanye song until it gets to the end of the song. And when you get to the end of the song, his lyrics are about poop. Poop dee da scoop, scoop dee da do whoop, whoop dee scoop dee poop, poop da scoop dee, so on and so on and so on. And people are wondering if he was just trolling, the internet. There's an article linked in Mashable, but what I found especially humorous is somebody took those lyrics and they put it to video of people scooping poop with pooper scoopers. And so you guys get the treat of experiencing that as well in the show notes.
You made me think that his that song idea may not have been fully baked.
It's kind of a crappy song. So anyway,
poop did it scoop.
So the CEO of Binance, a lot of people's favorite exchange, wrote this piece on LinkedIn. ICOs, not just, quote, good to have, but necessary. We have to have the ICOs?
Well, Changpeng Zhao, he said from his own experience in watching hundreds of other projects at close distance, he would say that raising money through ICOs is about 100 times easier than traditional VCs, if not more. And with the ease of raising money increased, Logic says there'll be 100 times more startups, well-funded startups, where ICOs are allowed. And he went in to talk about how courting in VC investors and doing PowerPoints and business plans and pitch decks and executive summaries and due diligence term sheets and all of that is, it's such a huge cycle. People spend a whole lot of time on that. Or you can basically write an awesome white paper about your passionate dream project and raise $20 million in 10 days. Yeah. From thousands of people around the world who speak your language.
Tough decision right here. And, one of the points he makes is that if you wanted to participate, for example, in a $50 million round for Uber and you only had $1,000 to invest, they're not interested in your money. He says even if you had $1 million, they may or may not take it. You need to be a high profile, famous VC investor. And so it's difficult for regular people. So, we look at how people have been crowdfunding projects on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and that's really all this is, right? We are going to kickstart our company using an initial coin offering, and we're going to allow everybody to play. Now, of course, here in the United States right now, we insist on making things difficult because you're not to be trusted with your own money and be responsible for your own decisions. We need to protect you. But other places of the world, pretty much most places, you can invest, 1 ETH in an ICO as a minimum. Some of them even less, like 0.1 ETH is all that it's needed to play. And so people that want to speculate and invest a little bit in something they believe in, they can do that.
This has been one of those interesting times because I think it was back in 2013 that the government finally allowed crowdfunding and investing to happen. And I was chatting with a business associate of mine, Thomas Carter, who was running this thing called Capital Services Group, who now has launched DealBox, which is like a blockchain business accelerator and crowdfunding platform. But we were having these conversations in 2013 before Ethereum had been launched, like, what are the mechanics of taking Kickstarter and Indiegogo to be able to invest in companies? That was one of my questions is like, yeah, I love this device that you're creating here on Kickstarter, but how do I invest in your company? Right? I want to be an owner in your company. I don't want to just buy your product. I don't want to just be a consumer. And ICOs have really taken the world by storm by allowing regular Joes and regular Joels to invest small amounts and have a chance to make some returns. Why do these big rich guys, these global banking elite and venture capital elite, why are they the ones why are they the only ones who get a win big?
Not fair.
Not fair, you guys.
Not fair. So Changpeng goes on to talk about some of the problems and misconceptions. The wisdom of crowds certainly plays in to ICOs. The more people that have the opportunity to play, you might see trends there. I like to look at telegrams to determine, just how interested people are. Now, the ones that do mega airdrops, those numbers get skewed a little bit because people are just coming for free cryptos. And he also makes the point that there's scams everywhere. Those scams haven't stopped. I still get text message scams, and emails. The quote unquote IRS calls me. This is it's a bot. Who's got one of these? This is the Internal Revenue Service. You are delinquent. Please call us at blah, blah. And it's all scam, right? They're trying to build people. So has phone regulation helped to stop that? Has the do not call registry stopped thieves from calling anyway? No. And the final point he makes is about ICOs have a high rate of failure, just like any startup.
Right. Well, that's the whole point. Like, in the traditional VC world, angel investor world, 9 out of 10 startups are failed within 3 years? They're done. 9 out of 10, if not more than that. 95 out of 100, right? So it remains to be seen the fail rate of ICOs because, not a lot of them have fully baked their product yet and have it fully launched because we're still in that beginning stages. They get their funding. Now they're taking that funding and they're building their projects. Over these next 3 to 6 months, Mr. Joel Comm, we are going to see the rubber meeting the road on a lot of these projects. Are they real? Are they fully baked? Did they actually do it, or did they take the money and run?
Are you perpetually hungry?
Am I?
You're always talking about baking things like
Fully baked?
yes, everything.
Fully baked. Completely stoned.
You're so big. There's a few other companies and places that are leaning to the blockchain. One of them you may have heard of, the gentleman running around, and ladies, gentle ladies as well, running around in the brown shirts and brown shorts, the UPS people. This article from the fanaticalfuturist.com, UPS bets on blockchain to transform the $1 trillion shipping industry. All about that supply chain stuff.
We've had many conversations about this as being advisors of ShipChain, right? And helping them with their ICO, which they didn't even have to actually have to do an ICO because they raised all their money prior to. But ShipChain and the supply chain is in my mind the second biggest use case for blockchain aside from banking. You got banking and then supply chain.
Look at the problem here, too. It says in this article, the FBI estimates that cargo theft causes an annual loss of approximately $30 billion per year, with an average theft of $190,000. And that can cost consumers up to 20% more for their goods. And it's because they're not able to, track this stuff, from point A to point B. You've got these old methods of, pen and paper and manifest logs, and it's so easy to scam it.
$30 billion a year of cargo theft.
Yeah.
I mean, don't
be stealing my cargo.
That's like way more money than I have.
It's like my car was parked out there and then it's gone. Where'd my car go?
Where'd my car
Oh, that was
you
horrible.
are such a doofus.
that was horrible. Here's another one. Big company, Facebook. What do they want to do?
Well, what they've done is they've taken Messenger's David Marcus. He is going to actually run a brand new team that's dedicated to researching and diving into blockchain and how Facebook should be using it. He's going to leave Messenger. He's going to take over this new internal team that is exploring blockchain technology. They want to find out, what they can do with it from the ground up. How can they, benefit Facebook from the ground up with blockchain? And, for one, they need to create the FB coin. And every time I create a hilarious status, they need to pay me some FB coin.
I'd be good with that. But here's the thing. All of these companies, Amazon, we're still waiting. When are they going to start taking crypto? Facebook, when are they going to integrate crypto? Google, at some point, going to integrate crypto. And the question is, are they going to develop their own blockchains? Are they going to develop their own coins? Or are, some of these coins that are out there now primed to be harvested? So, wouldn't it be amazing, as you and I both have, are holding a little bit of Stellar Lumens, as many of our listeners are as well? Because for those of you who listened from the beginning, you had an opportunity to get 500 free lumens when they were like 1.5 cents, and now they're like 40 cents. So if you missed it, you should have been listening.
Oh, hold on a second. We do have a couple invites.
We do.
Some 500.
But we haven't decided how we're going to manage them yet.
We're going to give you 500 lumens, which is essentially.
Well, they're going to give them to
you. They are.
We're
Stellar
not giving
lumens.
them away.
We don't actually have them. Yeah, they
gave
send
us,
them out to you.
Yeah, they gave us invite codes.
Yeah, so we have 500 Stellar lumens, which is now worth about $150. Stellar's down to about 30 cents.
Your math is.
Stellar's down to 30 cents today.
Is not.
It is.
No.
Yeah, it dropped from 40 something down to 30 cents. I saw it this morning. That's about $150 worth of free Stellar lumens. So whoever writes the funniest review this week, the one that makes us chuckle, and we'll read it on air, and then you will get 500 free Stellar lumens.
So we will decide corporately. We'll vote here.
Yep.
We are the panel of voters.
My vote is worth 51%, so make me laugh.
There you go. Okay, so lumens. So, what if, and this is pure speculation with no evidence to, support that it could actually happen. But what if Amazon says we're going to start using Stellar Lumens blockchain for all of our, e-commerce crypto transactions?
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. I mean, the whole market's going to go nuts whenever Amazon says we're taking crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Bezos knows it. I don't know why he's waiting so long, but this is going to happen.
Volatile, right? But here's the thing: is like if they had started accepting Bitcoin back in the day when it was worth $40 or $400, and then it becomes worth $9,000. I mean, just hold on to it. You just made a bunch of extra money. It becomes money and consumerism as an investment vehicle, kind of, right? It's like if you accept payments in Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes up over time, you've not only got money from the product that you sold, but now you make the investment opportunities there. So, Joel's completely speculating about Stellar and Amazon. I've not seen anything talking about
no
that. It's
evidence
complete
of that.
speculation.
It's not even speculation. It's a hypothetical. I'm not speculating. I like Stellar just because I like Stellar. I like how fast it is. And Jed McCaleb seemed like a cool cat.
We should actually have him back on because he was our first one that we had on. So around our year anniversary, we should have him.
Maybe he'd give us more Stellars to give away to our listeners.
For fans, for sure.
Jed, you just got put on the spot. Scoop,
Jed,
boop, scoopity boop, boopity boop, boop, boop. So Doug Maughan, who is serving as the Science and Technology Directorate of the Cybersecurity Division in Department of Homeland Security, testified before two congressional subcommittees last week, and he basically is telling Congress that blockchain uses are almost limitless. That means there's no limits.
That was good
On what can be done.
So there you go. So you can read that article. You can read about that article because they are almost limitless. We talk about them all the time, how many industries are being disrupted by it. Governments need to use blockchain in ways that keep them accountable. I think that's important.
And it's interesting. One of the examples that he used here is about supply chain and digitizing all that. We just got done talking about that. Maersk and IBM began a collaboration we talked about before, and they started this thing in 2016 about how the paperwork for goods, it doesn't always go with the goods that it needs to be that they're shipping with the containers, and it becomes a big mess. So more validation.
Well, speaking about those congressional conversations around crypto, there was big news last week that Ethereum was being discussed as potentially a security, and that there was going to be an announcement of what the SEC thought
A finding.
Well, in reality, what was happening was they were meeting the CFTC and the SEC were basically meeting to discuss Ethereum. And what did they find out? I love that. If you guys like those little jingles, that is from 80s Jay, and his picture and notes are there.
We found the dude on Fiverr.
The dude on Fiverr, and he was like, dude, let me do news songs for you each week about crypto, because he loves crypto himself. He's been collecting crypto since like 2013.
So rockin' Jay.
And he's also the dude who did the Welcome to Bad Crypto, a song that you'll hear soon.
Yeah.
Not today.
I was going to say, you guys haven't
heard it yet.
But you will hear it soon, and you're going to dig it. So, Joe Lubin, who is the co-founder of Ethereum, says, quote, he is extremely comfortable that Ether is not a security. We spent a tremendous amount of time with lawyers in the U.S. and in other countries and are extremely comfortable it's not a security. It never was a security. We are absolutely unconcerned about the current discussions.
Ethereum is not a security. Ethereum. That was a Home Sweet Home. I love that. I was a big fan of Motley Crue back in the day.
You guys are going to be singing that now all day and all night.
Was that a nice little Easter egg, though? You weren't expecting that. You weren't expecting us to drop hilarity in the middle of the news like that.
You never know what's coming next on Bad Crypto. We've referenced the Banking on Bitcoin documentary several times here. It's on Netflix if you haven't seen it, and definitely worth watching. But this story from Bitcoin.com says new movies featuring Bitcoin hitting theaters soon. And so, people are talking more about this in everyday conversation, and it's making its way into a remake of the 1972 crime drama Superfly. It's a 2018 version. And
Sony Pictures. So this is not like a little independent sort of funny thing. This is actually a real official. You can watch the official trailer here. And what's happening here is the main character is a drug dealer who wants to quit the dirty business, and so he swapped cash for crypto and redefined the hustle. And Superfly is basically, it's like a remake of that 1972 movie, as Joel mentioned, Superfly, and is now dealing in crypto instead of cash. And he basically is going to be, what is it? He's chasing 6,000 Bitcoins on a PC sold to a pawn shop. And yeah.
No, that's a different.
It's a totally different movie?
Yeah, it's a different movie. This article actually references 3. There's that one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the last one talks about Silicon Valley, the show on HBO, and Guilfoyle, who I still see as the nerd on Freaks and Geeks. I mean, that, from a long time ago, but he's done well, moved on in his career, and they reference Bitcoin in this episode several times. So
it's actually pretty hilarious. I've seen the clip that every time Bitcoin goes up or goes down at a certain swing, this this little snippet from this song, death metal song "You Suffer" comes on. Like, and it's like really loud, and everyone's like freaking out every time that he does it. So that was pretty funny. And finishing up our news, for the most part for this week, Huawei, the Chinese phone company that is pretty much banned in America because they say that the Chinese are spying on us, when in reality, all these countries are using Huawei devices and they've never found any issues on this. So Huawei smartphones in the future are going to have Bitcoin wallets. And
will they be Walwets?
Walwets. They will be Walwets, and they're going to have a Bitcoin Walwet. Nicely done, Mr. Joel Com. So I'm actually a Huawei KOL, a key opinion leader, and I believe Joel Com is as well, but he's kind of an inactive one. I don't know if you've ever done anything.
I have no opinion.
You have no opinion. It's not that
It's
key.
because they sent me a phone, but it only works on AT&T, and I'm not having that. I don't want no AT&T. I mean,
AT&T and T-Mobile. Actually, what you could do is get an old school. I did this on eBay. I bought a T-Mobile card, prepaid card, but it's like a vintage one. It's like basically you just got to put $10 on it each year, and you get to keep the phone. And so it's like I have like a little separate phone. And now I'm actually using that phone number for a lot of my sort of crypto things because it's untraceable. Nobody knows the number that I have. It's unpublished,
and that number
you can't SIM swap it. The number is it's very secret. It's 708-885-9030, and nobody knows what it is, so they're not going to be able to hack that one.
I wonder whose number that is.
I don't know.
Who just got hosed. Don't call that number, please.
Yeah, 708-885-9030.
And finally, a Lambo has finally created a vehicle that you can actually drive on the moon. And it's not the sports car. It's a Lambo Land Rover. It's not. It's a tractor.
It's a tractor. You can literally mow your yard with a Lambo.
I had no idea.
I'm going to go mow with my Lambo.
A friend of the show, Sebastian Hainaut, our French friend, who works for Renault in the blockchain division, and he told me, Joel, your accent is wrong. Instead of going up when you finish your sentences, you should go down. This is the correct dialect. You go down, monsieur. So he sent me a picture, and it's in the show notes so you guys can see. They actually have a number of different tractors, Lamborghini-tractors.com. So when you finally do get to the moon, you'll find out that they have a number of devices, which will get much better traction there, I think, on the moon.
You don't want any of this John Deere green. You want Lambo silver.
Yeah.
Dude, if I had a farm, I would be rocking the Lambo tractor.
Can you see these farmers out there? They invest in Bitcoin. Got my Lambo.
I got myself a Lambo. I'm going to go cultivate some land.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for listening to the Bad Crypto Podcast. Have you shared the show with a friend today? Because friends share. Sharing is caring.
You know what? If you just told one friend about Bad Crypto and got them to listen to the very first episode, Bad Crypto is badco.in/001, because that's how we have it set up. Or if you want to have them listen to a one that we created around Thanksgiving after we were a little more knowledgeable, badco.in/053. That's an episode where we really go in and kind of go down the rabbit hole and talk to people about how it all works and why it all works and why crypto is becoming so important. Tell a friend, share it with your friend, let them listen to the show. Just say, hey, listen to this one episode. If you like it, cool. If not, cool. But I want you to learn. You don't want your friends to be a have-not down the road. And we were having some conversations here at the World Tokenomic Forum. People, the world is changing so fast. 5G is coming. It's right around the corner. All this automation and AI, artificial intelligence with machine learning and all this stuff. It's changing the face of commerce. It's changing jobs. And you want your family to know about crypto, because if they get in sooner than later, they're going to have an opportunity down the road that they would not have had if they had ignored crypto like they are currently doing. And as Mr. Ronnie Moas said, he said that the risk of not investing, Ronnie, RONI, the risk of not investing is greater than the risk of investing at this point.
I think that somebody out there that's graphic designer, maybe design a T-shirt that says, friends don't let friends not crypto. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You like
the
that?
Rule of Ronnie.
The rule of Ronnie.
Risk of not investing is greater than the risk of investing at this point. Because you know what? If you invest in crypto and people are thinking it's going to hit $1 million, and right now it's at $8,000, $8,500, and you buy a couple of them and you say, you know what? Let me buy. You don't even got to buy a whole one. Just buy some of it. And maybe you buy a half a Bitcoin for a few grand and it turns into $1 million down the road. And you have a $500,000. You're going to shave a few years off your retirement.
Yeah, you won't need to be in the Dollar Shave Club anymore. You're going to be shaving $500,000 or something like that.
But we're not financial advisor. We don't know much.
We don't. And I think we peaked in November. You said when our expertise got a little better. We actually know a little less now.
We do.
So yeah, you should have caught us at the peak.
The peak, that's right. Yeah, because we were mooning.
You missed our mooning. I also decided as we leave you guys today that I might get a dog, and I'm going to name him Bad.
Are you?
Yeah.
Bad dog?
So, no. Well, it's just going to be his name, Bad.
Mm-hmm. So you seriously think about getting a dog?
That way when I want him to just not follow me, I could say, stay Bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.